Welcome back, friends. From those of you watching us from around the world, welcome and mabuhay. Good morning to everyone. Good afternoon and good evening. I am your host, Ami Peacock. I am the founder of Beyond the Conversation and co-founder of Giving Talents. I am very excited to bring a friend. She is actually quite new friend. We met through LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. There's so many people to meet with very little time. So I would love to introduce to you my friend Ara, and she can share a little bit about herself. But since this is Giving Talents, you might ask, what is Giving Talents and why we're talking about it? Well, Giving Talent is really in the name. We are asking people to give 1 hour of their time on November 29th from 1 to 2 p.m., your local time. And without any further ado, I would love to welcome a friend, Ara. Ara, welcome to the continuation of Giving Talents. And thank you so much for agreeing to be my guest. I am looking forward to our time together. So please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, of course. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Ara. I am currently in Vancouver, Canada. I moved here when I was 16. I'm originally from Indonesia. My family's still there. And yeah, I guess that's about it for me for now.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, Ara. You mentioned when we met, actually, you mentioned how difficult it was in the beginning for you because obviously you're 16 and then coming to completely a new city without your parents and without any social support. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, of course. From what I remember from our conversation, I told you about this feeling of being in between two worlds almost.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling of having this sort of identity in one place and then a different identity in another, and just trying to find that overlap in between, just to find that stability within yourself. So in terms of moving here without any social support, of course it was hard at first, starting from scratch, building a support system for yourself. But then again, I have to give all the credits to my parents. In the first few weeks, they were there for me. Absolutely complete support from them, 24/7. I'd be texting them, calling them at 2 a.m. They'll be there for me. They're on standby, always. And then I'd say after the first couple of months, I start reaching out to other people, and I find that it's so much easier. Things get easier when you find people that you can sort of relate with. And that's when I started to get closer to other exchange or international students, as we call it here. That's when you start to realize you're not alone. There are other people out there who are also trying to find social support, who are trying to find and build their support system. And so, yeah, and ever since then, things just started escalating super quickly, positively, of course. We started sharing the same experiences together, started sharing the same emotions together, which I think is a very important aspect. Yeah, I would say that's still also a journey up till this point.
Right. So that's very interesting because as an international student, what you did to really put yourself out there and start building that relationship, it's very helpful. And I can imagine for those who are maybe a little bit the introvert types, and I can imagine how hard it must have been for them. What is one or two things that you can encourage those who are maybe in similar situation as you are, the newcomers, international students, or even refugees? What are the two top things that can help them navigate?
Yeah, that's you brought up a really interesting point there about being introverts. I myself, I would say, since it is a spectrum, I used to lean more towards the introverted side as well. So communicating like this doesn't come naturally to me, even up till this day. But I do tend to find that as time goes by, there needs to be a separation between what you need to do and what you want to do. And I think I sort of built up that courage to reach out to people after I realized that no one's gonna, you need to put that effort in order for people to also put effort into you. So I do find that really helps, just to have that sort of mindset. And I think you also mentioned in our meeting about how, or maybe it was like someone else, but they said something along the lines of LinkedIn, for example. A lot of people might think that is so inorganic, and people just kind of force themselves and put up a really pretentious front in order to sell themselves out. But I really do think that it may be like that in some sort of way, but sometimes you need to build this inorganic relationships in order to have an organic one. And I think it's just such a good platform in order to do that. And I do feel like, even in terms of every day-to-day conversations, even if you were to just meet up with a stranger, for example, out in the streets, in some sort of way, you're also putting up a front that way, or it's either that your first impressions matter, the way that you want to look through other people's eyes. That's something you always subconsciously think about. So even if it's not LinkedIn or no LinkedIn, dating apps or no dating apps, I really do feel like either way, it's just a good way to my point is that it doesn't really matter how the means in order to get to those organic relationships, but what matters is what you do with those relationships and how you sort of expand on that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And at the end, in person or online, you still have, we still need to be authentic in every ways anyway.
Yeah.
Because as you said, people are very smart. They can smell whether the person is unauthentic. So that's just a good sense.
Yeah.
Since this is giving talents, and of course it is approaching on November 29th, do you have any plans?
I honestly have thought about this all day, and I was thinking, should I maybe say something about being kind to strangers? And I began to realize that most of the videos that I've sort of, not today specifically, but throughout time, most of the videos that I've seen on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram, as most of you might relate to, they're mostly all very related to strangers, but I think there's less content or less actions that is more targeted to the people you know.
Yeah.
Or the people that actually already mean a lot to you. And I think people tend to forget that these people are also perfect strangers at some point, and doesn't mean that you can't really be kind to them. So I feel like they need our kind of appreciation too. So I would say my plan for Giving Tuesday is to either text or call the people that I haven't communicated with in a while, but I know means a lot to me, or have been the reason that I am the person that I am today.
Yay. Okay.
I'd say reach out to them and say that it could be something small, somewhere along the lines of, listen, like, you matter to me. I know it's been a while since we've talked, but I just want you to know that I'll always be here for you. Just something along those lines and make it really personable, personalize it a
Yeah.
little bit and say what you actually want to say. And yeah.
That's a wonderful, wonderful cause to spend your 1 hour to completely strangers or not non-strangers, Aura. And I think, it does not need to be something huge. It's something, oftentimes, the small thing that matters the
Yeah.
most. And so thank you so much for doing your part on giving talents. I also, for those of you who are just tuning in, we would really love to encourage you to do kind to someone on November 29th from 1 to 2 p.m. Anything will do, anything will be appreciated. So thank you all for listening. And Aura, we are nearing to our time together. Is there any last piece that you want to inspire others?
I'd say one thing that keeps repeating in my head before this interview, or even every day in this case, is this one thing that my mom used to always say in Indonesian. She said, "Kalau mau bantu, jangan pake pikir," which in English, it means if you want to help, don't think twice.
Wow.
Just do it. Don't think twice. No matter who
That's
it is,
amazing.
especially in Vancouver, we have a really big drug problem, so I think it's very relevant here. Especially in downtown, I see so many people passing by these people who would be out in the streets, like sleeping in their sleeping bags, and nobody really stops and help them. And when they do, I feel like there are just so many people out there who's like, why are you giving them money? It's you never know what they're gonna be using the money for. But I would say to them, like, you're not accountable for what they use the money for, but what you're accountable for is when you see a person in need, you help them. Because that's all you're responsible for. You don't know what they're gonna use the money for. They might use it on drugs, sure, but you don't know that. They might need food, they might need something else, So yeah, if you keep thinking twice about it, of what people are gonna do or how they're gonna react once you help, you're never gonna help people. Just do it.
Amazing. Amazing. Wow. Aura, thank you so much for being my guest today. I love our time together, and I would love for you to come back again.
Of course. Thank you so much, Ami, for having me.
My
This means a
pleasure.
lot. Thank you.
My pleasure, Aura. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't done so, please like our channel or subscribe. It's givingtalents.org. Givingtalents.org. You still have time to register your time, your name, and we would love to have as many, even from the people in Indonesia. I'm pretty sure this Aura is going to send it to Indonesia. And for those of you who are Indonesian living in Canada or in Indonesia, still living in your country, please get involved in your community. That is it for now. And thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day and tune in again for our next interview. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.